41 minutes after the hour, Dr. Dan Benishek is a candidate for Congress in the 1st Congressional District, the Republican, in fact, from Crystal Falls, and has released some television commercials and has been getting busy, obviously, with the campaign. We're only 29 days left until the general election. Good morning, Dr. Benishek.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to talk to you. I understand the McDowell campaign says that you want to privatize and phase out Social Security. Is that true?
Well, no, it's not true. I'm all for preserving Social Security. As you probably know, Social Security is broken the way it sits. I mean, in 20 years, there's going to be no money left. And my goal is to preserve it. From the beginning, I've been saying we have to make it sustainable in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's going now, there's going to be no money left. So my plan has been to, first of all, keep those who are getting Social Security, keep it intact. But just the way it is, no changes, no decreases, no freezes. But for those who are less than 55, what's wrong with an option to take part of that money and put it into a personal account? That will, you'll have a property right to it, and you'll be able to pass it on to your children. And then have a guarantee that whatever you put in, you get back, and ensure that it has a long-term sustainability. That's sort of consistent with Paul Ryan's roadmap for America's future.
Well, it sounds all right to me as an option, I guess. And but is that money? You say there's a guarantee that you would at least get the principal back. How could you do that? There were people who said that, Mitt Romney's idea to make Social Security available to you in your own sort of market-based account would have been a disaster when the market crashed 2 years ago. I mean, what do you say to those people?
Well, I don't know. The Congressional Budget Office and the Social Security Administration determined that the roadmap for America's future was permanently would make the thing perfectly solvent, and that we've had 30 years of growth in the market. If you would have put money into a personal account 30 years ago, you would have 20% or 30% gains on all that money over the past 30 years. I mean, a one-time market fall doesn't mean much over 30 years.
Speaking of taxes and investing and the rest, you are in favor, as I understand it, of extending the Bush tax cuts to everyone, not just those who make less than $200,000 a year. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, small business falls into that $250,000 a year category. Gas stations,
Mm-hmm.
hardware stores, all those people fall into that $250,000 a year range. And that's where all the jobs are. I mean, small business creates most of the jobs, and we want small business to flourish. I mean, the problem with our economy is that the government is spending too much money, and they're taxing us too much, and there's too much regulations. That's why the unemployment rate is so high. Everybody's uncertain as to what's going to happen.
Has your opponent, Gary McDowell, the Democrat, been vague about whether he supports the extension of the tax cuts?
He hasn't said a word about it. I mean, he's been absolutely silent on the issue. We've been trying to get him to see where he stands, but he won't respond. I mean, this is a tough economy. You're going to raise taxes. This will be the largest tax increase in the history of America, and we want to do it in the midst of this recession. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's going to bring down the economy even further.
All right, Dr. Dan Benishek, thank you very much for the time this morning. We are 29 days till the general election. He's running for Congress as the Republican in the 1st Congressional District against Gary McDowell, who has, by the way, received the endorsement of the National Rifle Association. Gary McDowell has. He's an NRA member. And they've only apparently nominated or endorsed 3 candidates for Congress, and Gary McDowell, the Democrat, is one of them. So Dr. Benishek and Gary McDowell are in a tight race there. In the giant 1st Congressional District, it's Michael Patrick Shields.